incoming serious video now about a topic of life stresses. How do we deal with all these? It was a request from one of you subscribers who watch my channel quite a lot, but we'll talk more in detail. It's not just about running. I think for people in life in general, how do we help cope so that we can train consistently? Yeah, let's go. Yes, serious incoming video. My name is Donato, England Masters coach, mentor and all-round nice guy. And if there's any topics that I talk in this video that you have some questions, leave it in the comments below. And also I do have a link where you can book 30 minutes for free, a chat with me on Zoom, and we can talk more specific and personal stuff with you, where I might be able to help you in some way move forward, that maybe something that may need some outside help. Yes, a very warm welcome back to my channel. And yes, it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day here, and I'm absolutely enjoying this time in September. So a couple of weeks ago, if you've been following my channel for quite a while, or even just a few weeks, you would have seen a video where I talked about the #1 hack in running and how we can get faster, which is basically to train consistently. But I had a question from a guy who's subscribed. I'm guessing it's a guy because it's an anonymous account. Apologies if it's a lady or however you may identify yourself, but I'm guessing it's a guy because under the name of Kikong1001, where he said this is all well and good, but sometimes life gets in the way, you know, financial stress, family commitments, jobs, all that type of stuff. But also sometimes, you know, you can't eat properly, which affects our sleeping. So I'm going to go through some of these aspects in terms of me. This isn't medical advice I'm giving here. I must stress this is not medical advice. I'm not a qualified medical doctor. The person was asking, being 64 that I am, that maybe I have some life experiences, and I do for some things, and I make no apology, I might take for granted. And I may even do a video where someone asked me, I want to get started running, how do I start? And you know, I had to pause to think, how do you actually start from someone who's never ran in their lives? And it's the same with this in terms of, I've just learned, and it becomes almost second nature for a lot of things. Having worked in all types of jobs, platforms, careers, over 40 years, I've gained a lot of experience working with different types of people from around the world, and I've worked all over the world. And not just in running, but life, the universe and everything. So I'm going to share some key things where how to help us cope with our life stresses, and also some hints and tips of how maybe moving forward from where you may be right now to ensure that you have essentially a better life, because that's what this channel is about. Sorry if it sounds really deep and serious and all that, but essentially I put content on here, yes, to entertain and to show you how brilliant running is and being active, but also to have a positive impact on people's lives. That's what I'm here for, and hopefully it's helping in some way. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how do we deal with certain aspects in our life stress, and then I'll give some tips on that. Now, whilst I appreciate not everything is black and white, there's a lot of grey lines in there. And as was mentioned, you know, sometimes we can have financial stress, relationship stress, housing, legal, and there's all things that impact on this, eating and sleeping. But the first thing that I use of tackling, having worked in the mental health sector professionally, the first thing that we want to tackle is the sleep. Yeah, the sleep is the first thing you want to tackle. Once we get a good sleeping pattern, and it's about getting good sleep, yeah, that's the essential thing. Maybe, you know, it's, and I'm not a sleep detective or a sleep professor, so for me it just needs to be in a comfortable bed, comfortable environment, right temperatures. And for me, when I go to bed, I switch off from whatever's been happening. I don't want to think about it. There are a plethora of YouTube videos that can help you relax and getting into your sleep mode. Maybe have a look at some of those. Try anything. I don't think we need to splash out £2,500 on some kind of bed and mattress that'll help you sleep. Yes, they might help, but it's getting into a particular pattern Once we get the sleep working correctly, then we can start looking at the other aspects, you know, being able to eat and drink correctly. Once we've got our sleeping pattern working, and as I say, it doesn't matter how many hours sleep, and I've said this in many a video when it comes to preparing for races, is not to stress about not getting enough sleep. I think too many of these hacks and videos talk about you need to get 7, 9 hours, 10 hours. Yes, that's great, that's the ultimate goal, but not to stress if you're sleeping or having difficulty getting to sleep. It's about relaxation, getting into that. Once that's done, the eating should be relatively straightforward, where we go at the three meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Not skip any of those, and if you don't feel like eating, just have a little snack. Yeah, keep the body metabolism going, ticking over, but the drinking, get enough body fluids up. If we're lacking in energy, liquids, then that can impact our sleep. So the things sort of all go together. As I said, nothing's black and white, there's lots of grey. But I'm going to talk about how do we deal with the stresses of life, financial life and everything, because sometimes this could be part of the 3 things that need to be sorted. A lot of the issues that we have in life, and I've seen a lot of these gurus talk about, and they give you all these crib sheets and hacks and that, but I'll just summarize it in one thing: time management. Yeah, time management, and that is putting things into their compartments. Is, can you manage your time? So when it comes to training consistently, if you have family, work commitments, you put those into your calendar first as their priority. Unless running is your priority, then you put the running in first and everything fits around that. But you put in work, family commitments in, and then you adapt your training to fit around that. That's what I do with most of my athletes that I'm coaching. We look at the whole picture and how we can fit in the training to be consistently, but it's time management. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you how, not just time management, but also how I look at things that maybe cope with the ultimate stress, because often stress, anxieties is caused by things that we worry that we don't have control over. I often see a lot now on news, media and all that type of stuff where people's mental health is deteriorating quite a lot, and it's understandable with so much stuff going on in the world right now, and some of it's really bad. But for me, I tend to slot the issues going on 2 things. Can I actively have an impact on this? Do I control it? Do I have control? Or do I have zero control or zero impact? Yeah, I split those into the 2 categories and draw the list: what I can control, what I can't control. And then for me, there's things that I can't control. I can't control what gets published on TV news channels. I can't control what goes on to social media, what people post about social media. I can't control those at all. So I put that in the category not to worry about. And I know it sounds really simple, but it is that simple. Often the biggest things for me, I find it is that simple. And it's difficult at first to start drawing that, because for me it's over a decade, maybe even 15, 20 years that I've not plugged into regularly a 24/7 type news channel where you plug in, I want to see the latest news. That to me can cause stress, anxiety of what's going on in the world. Can I have a positive impact and change that? Probably not. And that's not sounding defeatist. We've got to be a bit realist. And then we look at the things, what can I control? You know, my job, my finances, my income, relationships. I can have a direct impact on those, and it's what we want to do to help improve that. Now I could do a whole video on finances. You know, if we've got worry, and I've had that, and sometimes I still have that. You know, do I have a budget where I can travel to a particular race, like for instance planning New York City Marathon? Yes, it's great qualifying for the World Championships, but do I have the money to be able to go over there and make a holiday of it and have a good time? Yeah, because if I can't, then I'm not going to go. And yes, it might be hard for me and go, oh, you know, I'm missing out on this, but do I have positive control of it? Does that make sense? Split it into the 2 areas. What do I have control of? What don't I have control? Work on the ones that you do have control. Forget the ones you don't have control. But again, takes time, practice. I still dip in now and again into 24/7 use, so I'm abreast of something that's going on, but I don't let that impact me, impact my mental health, because I have zero control. And that fundamentally is what stress and anxiety is caused, is we don't have control over that. We're worried of what may happen. Worrying of what may happen is a really waste of brain energy and all that type of stuff. We really can't do anything about it, and that's why I think sometimes when we look, and I don't want it to be a you know, bashing of other things, people or whatever, but I really do believe some media channels do focus on the fringes, you know, and if it's, say, politics, they focus on the fringes of both sides to cause antagonism, anger, rage baiting and all that type of stuff. And yeah, we could do a whole video on that, and it would be totally pointless. But again, there's other channels that do that because that's what gets them the clickbaits, that's what gets them the views. Almost to a point with some things that go on with running, you know, there's some things you think, did you really want to do that, or why? Forget it, move on, leave them be, and they can crack on. I hope that's helped you in some way. I know maybe there's no exact format and fancy slides and meta-analysis of this, meta-analysis of that, but going back to the original question, what was asked by my subscriber, Kihong1001, hopefully I'll pronounce that correctly, is that asking from my experiences. I might be oversimplifying some things, but sometimes things are that simple. Yeah, you know, when you break down the training for a marathon, it's simple. It might not be easy, but it is simple. So let's keep things simple and enjoy it. And whatever you are, whatever you do, keep buttering those crumpets, because sometimes humour goes a long way. Yes, you know me, I do like my addendums. An addendum to this, as I said, there is a link. If there's anything more personal, you want some more personal someone to chat to, there is a link in the description where you can book 30 minutes Zoom chat with me, and I'll see what we can talk about, yeah? Whether it be to help you or just have a general chit chat. But for me, the key thing is keeping things light, humour, and it's not being dismissive of the issues or things that we may be going through in life, but sometimes, especially when we have no control, you know, do we cry or do we laugh, you know, or do we just do nothing? It's up to you. Yeah, life, we do have choices. Thankfully we live in a world where we do have freedom of choice, and we can, to a point, do what we want to do, you know, as long as it doesn't cause any harm or whatever to people. But I think sometimes we're now living in a world where some individuals do look and seek to be offended in some way, and will constantly be triggered by almost anything. And yeah, why, what, how? So I can't deal with that. I'm not here to solve the world's problems, but I can only focus on myself, make sure that I'm the best version of me, and if that helps in some way with you guys out there, great. If not, go and find what you're looking for. In the words of, what is it, U2? I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Yeah, I know, I'm going to stick with the day job. Singing, maybe not. But then, if we go into a studio and do some mixing and make my voice sound really good, that could work, couldn't it? Yeah, let's get some AI involved as well. Wow, amazing what we could create when it's all fake, isn't it? Stay safe, everyone. Love you all. Bye-bye.